You sold anything today?
Yes, sir. A little bit stuff happened there.
I like those. I do. Turn on. That's bad for you, so.
What is 5:30? All right, we ready? Okay. Call to order the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for the town of Unicoi for Monday, March 20th. We have an invitation to be delivered by Reverend Blazer. And so I'll invite him to come up and provide that to us. And we appreciate you being here.
Father, we do thank you today for your tremendous love and your mercy, and your kindness toward us today. Heavenly Father, I just pray that your blessings be upon this meeting this evening. Those decisions are made, let it be according to your will and plan. Father, we'll give you praise and honor and glory for all you do in Jesus' lovely name. Amen.
Thank you. All right, the pledge. We give everyone turn, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Kessler, would you call roll, please?
Alderman Raymond,
Here.
Alderman McIntyre,
Praise.
Alderman Radford, here, Vice Mayor Cooper,
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here. Okay, minutes from the prior meeting. Minutes from the prior meeting, and I'm assuming everyone's had an opportunity to look over those. Make a motion. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
A correction maybe,
Okay.
a minor correction.
Okay.
Under B, History Committee, when I asked Alderman McIntyre if he could get a quote from a contractor, not from his store, because we can't buy from him. So as concerns putting 10 on the cabinet,
Okay.
get a contractor to give us a quote.
But you still want me to get a quote?
Yes,
Okay.
but we can't buy from you if you're not.
Okay, contractor. That is, on B, History Committee, it's Ford Senate's down. Get a quote from the contractor.
Just remove from his store and you'll be good to go.
And that's to take the old roof off and put metal back on.
Barn 10.
Okay, and we haven't decided yet what type of metal.
Barn 10.
Barn 10.
Okay, the second and, the motion and the second will include that adjustment and correction in the minutes. Any further discussion? All right, we'll vote, please.
Alderman Raymond. Alderman McIntyre,
Yes.
Alderman Radford. Yes. Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes. Okay, I do want to publicly acknowledge the fact that, Kim Lewis, passed away last week. Kim and his wife Shirley and their son Tim were I'm going to say stalwarts in our community. Ken served on the board, school board for a long time. He was the original mayor in the town of Unicoi and Alderman Hall. Was a fixture in getting the town of Unicoi established. And the two of them did a lot for their community. Shirley was a first grade teacher. I remember years before retirement was at Unicoi Elementary School, and everybody just loved Miss Lewis. And Shirley, they made a big impact in our community, a very positive impact. So good folks, and it's sad to lose one of those. Okay,
Mayor, what level of mayor was he? What, anybody else?
I think you might have been second.
He was.
Second,
Charles Hensley was first.
And then it was a short time.
okay.
And he served on the board, I think, all Hensley might have been there. Yeah. So he was very involved.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, so that was that. Citizen comments previously submitted.
Okay, I have a Pam Bailey that lives on Massachusetts.
Is there a Pam here? No? Okay.
And then I had a Gary Wayne, Outdoor Solutions.
Okay, no. All right, how about, submitted for today's meeting here?
None.
None? Okay. All right. Okay, then we will move on. There is no old business, there is no unfinished business. New business is consideration and approval for the first reading of an ordinance 2023-314, amending fiscal year 22-23's budget as passed by ordinance 22-305 of the town of Unicoi. Ms. Kessler, if you would like to share a little bit about that amendment.
Okay. As you know, we do our budget really early in the year. So, moving between the, first tranche of ARPA funds and the second, we're readjusting for some funds that were paid in this fiscal year, which would, increase the amount for the renovations that we're having for the building. So we're moving $72,675 to the first installment of money that we got from ARPA. And that's mainly due to the renovation of the EMS Annex building. We also received a donation from a family, and it was the George Connor family. They sent the money to the town and wanted us to designate that money for the Manna Food Pantry. So that's another line item. And then we had sale of equipment was the 2011 Tahoe. And then we also had proceeds of sale of fixed assets for the maintenance truck and sale of fixed assets for another police vehicle. So that is for the adjustment on the revenue side. And then offset the public welfare, $1,000 on the donation. And then the police department vehicles that we sold, $13,591.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that? Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Second? Second. Any further discussion? Okay, discussion, please.
Alderman Lemon,
Yes.
Alderman McIntyre,
Yes.
Alderman Radford. Yes. Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes,
Mayor Boland.
Yes. And let me stop right there. I have failed to introduce our new city attorney, Todd Hall. I'm so sorry, Todd. Elizabeth Jones, took a position, which I think for her life, with her young child, position with the public defender's office works really well with her life circumstances right now. And, so she has taken that position. So she moved away from us, and then Todd has been stepping in, and he's officially with us. So we appreciate you
Thank you.
being with us, okay?
Looking forward to working with the town.
He has experience with our law enforcement guys and some other things, and he feels very strongly that the town's a good thing, and we're doing good things, and I think really wanted to be a part. So
That is.
I appreciate that interest. Okay, all right, and forgive me for overlooking. Okay, now we'll go on to B. Discussion and action on revision to the Mountain Harvest Kitchen operating procedure regarding client user rate changes requiring prior board, mayor, and alderman approval. I will let the alderman, vice mayor, that I think wanted this on the agenda, make a motion and then discuss it.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, you got a motion and a second. Now let's discuss.
Okay, I've sort of kept track of the kitchen over the last several years, and this afternoon, I'll give you some sort of reasons why I think the board needs to be involved in approving rate changes. Some numbers I'm going to give you sort of going to be very interesting. February revenues of MHK was $6,681. Of that, $4,245 was grant revenue. This came from Davis report. So as you can see, the grant gave us a big jump. Okay, year to date, MHK has lost about $11,000. Now in 2017, for y'all don't know, we sold bonds here to a total of $925,000. And that was mainly to do projects, and the mayor was on the board then. As of June the
There's
3rd,
also the roles of other debt into.
right, but as of June 30th of last year, and I'm using audit reports here, we still owe $582,000. And the principal this year on that indebtedness is $75,500. The interest is $13,386. So that's $88,886. The note payout is around 2029. Okay. Now I went back and pulled our audits all the way back to 17, and it got real interesting. The grant total that we've received through June 30th of 22, we've received $944,759 of grant money. The kitchen use revenue, this was actually users, $162,527. The other number that's staggering, the amount of money that we have spent from the general fund towards the kitchen through June 30th, 22, $998,284. So we still owe a ton of money on the kitchen, and I guess I'm just saying we sort of need to, the board sort of needs to keep track of what's going on with all that indebtedness we're looking at.
Okay, I will have a comment. The indebtedness of the kitchen is still very problematic for the town. I'm not denying that at all. We're doing better than we were initially, but we've still got a lot of room to move. Rates are only one of the pieces. I think when it comes to the financial input, the revenue of the kitchen, expenses go out, but revenues and rates are all related to how many people are using the kitchen. You know, if it's $10, you got 100 people, that's $1,000. If it's $10, you got 5, that's only, you know, if it's $20, you got 5, that's $1,000. So, or 2, whatever, I can't do that in my head very well. Anyway, so I think in my opinion, I think for the board to have to approve any changes, might be a little micro management when there's a whole lot of other pieces. I have met with, and Laura we met together with food industry consultant with Tennessee Department of Agriculture. We just met on Thursday. And he knows these kitchens across the state. He knows the kitchens in Nashville. He knows the kitchens in Knoxville, the way they work. He knows how these things work. He said he told us to bump up one of our hourly rates, not to give a discount for local rate. Brandon was on the phone with us. He physically had to be here. Brandon was on the phone. So he was at the meeting also. Mike Brown, the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, thought our base rate was very appropriate and competitive. He said we're not charging for things that we can charge for, which is some of the expertise, some of the guidance. I went ahead and jumped into a wagon that said Laura has marketing, graphic design experience. You know, if they want to talk about logos to label their product, they could pay $500 for her to mock up 4 or 5 labels for them and let them discuss it. There's other things we could be charging for, we're not charging for. In addition to, we talked about marketing. So I think rates are only one piece that impacts the revenues and makes the balance sheet on the kitchen. And I think for the board, that would be somewhat tedious. That's my opinion. I think that is better left. Anybody else wants to jump in on this little wagon we're all in, that's fine. If there's a board member that would like to be more involved with the kitchen, I think me, Laura, Brandon, and another alderman, that's fine. If people want a little more input or feel like they need a little more detail about knowing what's going on. But I just think it's too tedious for the board. They're gonna make a decision on an hourly rate, but then they don't know any of the other factors that also impact revenue. That's my.
Well, you know, I can agree with part of what you're saying, but we brought this up in July of 17. This board has had absolutely no responsibility for that kitchen except putting money up to it since 17. We've not approved any rate changes.
I have.
Well, the rest of us
We
have.
discussed rate change. It's a fluid kind of
Yes,
thing.
yes, but
That's
how
why
often does it change, Mayor?
we changed some things in about a 3-month cycle.
Well, believe it or not, I actually pulled the July 17 minutes. The procedure for the kitchen was never approved. It's not in the minutes. Okay. So I went down and checked it, but the board, with this much money involved, we have to at least be somewhere in the loop. And right now, we're not in the loop anymore.
Is there a legal need for the operations of the kitchen, Mountain Harvest Kitchen, to be approved by the board? I don't know if we ever have.
I would probably get back to you on that, just, I don't know anything
I
about
don't
the
think-
kitchen itself.
I
so-
don't think we ever have, I don't think that's ever, even as town as an alderman. And like I said, I think it would be better to pull another alderman, and I'm gonna suggest it's gonna be you, since this is the issue and you have legitimate concern about it. Get on board with me, Laura, Brandon, and be part of all that planning that happens. I don't think it needs to come to the board every time. It just seems like tedium for the board without having the big picture. That's what I think about it. The kitchen is unfortunately, it's still a work in progress. There's still a lot of room to grow and change. And that's a lot of what came out of the discussion that we had, that Brandon was on, that we had with Mike Brown.
Well, one of the things that this board is seeing is this information right here. And right now, Brandon isn't seeing any of that information. And I think the board has got to be involved a little bit. And right now, we're not involved in it at all, other than doing the budgets, and we're gonna give you $30,000 this year to run the kitchen.
And that survey was paid, you know, when they came from New York, they did whatever, and
Yeah.
some of the things that could be adapted, and some of that hasn't been.
True, the very first work session we had after I was elected and a lot of this board changed, we had a kitchen manager come to describe to us what steps had been achieved, what things had been accomplished out of that strategic plan that had been done 2 years prior, and there hadn't been anything. And I don't want to speak out of turn, or certainly don't want anyone's feelings to be hurt, but that kitchen belonged to a group of people. We would admit that. The kitchen belonged to a select group of people.
Yep.
And for anything to change in that kitchen has taken a lot of time. It's, we're there and we're ready to go on this new projected plan. But
Now,
there was ample time for the kitchen committee to do more marketing, there was ample time for them to be working on these sorts of things, there was ample time for the fire director to be working on these sorts of things, it never happened.
even though we did try to work with them,
Now we're gonna turn a page, so
we
we're
did
here,
try.
and so we're going here now.
Now, if you remember, under the prior administration, we were forbidden to speak to any town employees.
So,
So that's changed, so.
so I would invite, and I'm directing a lot of this to Vice Mayor Cooper because he is the one that has brought this topic to be discussed. I invite him, I invite any other board member that would like to routinely, we can set something up once a month and start looking at everything that goes once a month, start looking at things, start developing our marketing plan, Mike was gonna send us some other things, I think Sharon was how some of the kitchens built for some of the other services that aren't using the equipment, but they're services of expertise or, services of not tangible, the intangible services, I guess. But he really thought we were missing a big revenue stream there. And then marketing, we've got to do a better marketing.
And I think a lot of that's supposed to fall on the Park and Recs too to help with that.
And I don't want that.
Yeah, they do.
We've had a lot of blunders, but it's where we are today, and like I said, turn the page, here we are. We're gonna go this way. So, that's my. And I'm gonna say, I don't know which one of you think I know, I don't either, but we'll say this, we, had a meeting with, Jody Slider, which, oversees an umbrella of different avenues for resources and whatnot, but to be a three-star community does give us access to other funding that non-three-star communities don't get access to. And, Euclid County is a three-star. It's not any one town, but in that meeting, not just me sitting in the room, not just Laura sitting in the room, other people in that room said we've got to build out our hospitality and food business. And it was like, okay, here we are, here we are, here we are. And we started to get a little contact with some questions about that process has started, I guess is what I want to say. The process of marketing, the process of getting a big picture, the process of trying to build revenue, awareness, and all that stuff has started.
You're starting to get the word out that it is a thing.
And it's gotten bigger. I mean, and because people in Unicoi don't even know what that kitchen is. And much less Irwin, but people started talking about it as we talked about the entire county and economic development in the entire county, that is a jewel. It's a jewel, it's a draw. It can draw people in that might spend their money, as well as if it really lives up to its purpose and incubates food-based businesses, we need to generate those things and generate those businesses. There's a lot of people in our community, in our region, who believe hospitality and tourism, that's where our dollars are gonna come from, retail and tourism, that's where our dollars are gonna come from. It's not gonna be industry. It's not gonna be industry.
And that's what it is with most not. I mean, that's just what happens.
So,
Is it like Roger, would that be satisfactory if you were on board with them as far as overseeing?
Okay, somehow, we have to get one that runs the kitchen more involved in the day-to-day stuff that goes on that the board is involved in. And, I've talked with him here just recently, but some of the stuff he doesn't realize. We don't have good communication between the management and us. We do not. Okay? We do not have it. I'm sorry. Just the way it is.
I feel like I do, so I'm
Well-
gonna say whatever. I mean, it would not, I don't know how often y'all try to communicate with Brandon, but do you have a bad experience, just good experience? But anyway, I think he's willing, it's, sometimes you don't realize there's a problem, you can't address it, so, you know, that's good, so.
And you
again,
know, and if Roger feels like he's out of touch with that, then, you know, you can relate to the rest of us.
You know, like I said, these is real numbers. This is not imaginary numbers that I pulled together. And, you know, and we did try to work with the committee, as the mayor stated. We tried hard to work with them. They were just unwilling. We had a great opportunity there to go forward.
So I think we're at a crossroads again, where I really do believe we're at a crossroads again, where we can make it or break it. And I think we've got to make it, we gotta commit.
Well, I think Wanda or Deb would be great to work with him. One of the two, or both of them.
Well, I mean, I certainly don't mind doing that, I'd love to know more about it, however, I mean, this seems to be something that you have a passion for, and I think you probably have gotten to, you know, so I think it would be the logical choice to work with him on that.
She said she can even use more, I mean, more on the board, if everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have a kitchen board or kitchen committee, it's just kind of, you know,
Maybe if we want
who's
to-
interested,
maybe
who
if we-
wants to work on it.
And maybe whoever wants to come together, get it started, and see how it goes from there, and then see what steps we need to keep being involved in.
Well,
You know.
here's what, Mike will come back anytime. We can continue to meet. When we get together again, I'll make sure everybody knows about it. Whoever decides or feels led, I'll show up and then.
But what they have said, this is one of the best state of the arts anywhere, around anywhere. Like I said, it's a jewel there, but it was, and when they brought that report, they said, you know, we need to increase the people coming in to do that for the hours. That was the one thing that they suggested, the things that was simple, you know, we got to keep.
There was some detailed strategic plans
Mhm.
in that assessment. Yeah. Okay, well, okay, so going back to, we talked a lot about the kitchen, I think it's been good discussion. That we have got this, this discussion on the table right now that has got a motion and a second. So I'm going to ask if there's any further discussion. Do we want to proceed with a vote? Do we want this to stand and let it go for vote? Or do we, want to do anything else? So that we need to close this out on the
I'd like to make a correction to something that was said earlier. The town did not sell bonds to raise that money. And that was done with a capital outlay.
That's that play.
I just want the minutes to be correct.
Yeah, that was a capital outlay. And it rolled some other debt through it, but then did extend. So, right. Okay,
And y'all could do it like a workshop if you want to
Yeah.
do that before you do anything else. I mean, it's,
To have you know, more of a discussion about it before we just start volunteering to do things that we're not quite sure what we're volunteering to do.
okay,
For the next one.
I am, well, no, I was gonna suggest, I'd be happy, we've got budget workshops coming, and those we really need to do, but we need to sit and talk about this kitchen. So we can schedule another work session. We just need to schedule a work session, get everybody at the table, and Brandon, and we'll just get us all at the table. Okay, so that we will do, that we will work on that for us. So, again, Roger, you brought this motion, would you like to see it through for a vote, or do you want to do anything else?
Let's just go ahead and let's have solves this vote. It'll be approved or disapproved.
Okay, I'll put that,
Alderman Lemon, what are we voting for now?
whether or not the operating procedures and rate changes will require Board of Mayor and Alderman approval anytime they're changed.
I'd like to make a motion that we still wait until we have a discussion, and then we can see where we're going, if we think we need that. Can we do that?
Okay, I don't think your motion overrides his, it was his original motion, so I think he has to do something with it.
She can table it. She can table it.
Do you withdraw your motion?
No, she can table my motion,
Okay, so she's making a motion to table it, somebody needs to,
and I'll second her
Second,
motion. I'll second her motion. So we're
okay,
gonna
so
table it.
any discussion about tabling, we're gonna vote on tabling with us.
Yes,
Okay, we're gonna vote on tabling, whether to table or not, so go ahead, Council.
Alderman Lemon,
Yes.
Alderman McIntyre,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
yes.
Mayor Horn.
Yes. Now, we didn't close out our previous motion. Do we need to close out the previous motion?
No, we tabled it.
Yeah.
We tabled
Pretty
it.
sure? All right, all right. So I did enough on that, but we're good? Okay, all right, y'all all agree on that? Okay. All right, there is in your packet, thank you for that discussion, in your packet, there is an agreement, to implement with our, relationship, the town's relationship with our city attorney, Todd Hull. It basically is, a repeat of Elizabeth Jones, same responsibilities. I think even financially, that plays out the same way. Y'all have been able to review that. We need to, accept or deny that. So we've had an opportunity to look at it. We need a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion. We accept.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, we will vote.
Alderman Lemon,
Yes.
Alderman McIntyre,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes,
Mayor Horn.
Yes. Next on our agenda is, if I'm not mistaken, we actually have 2 empty seats on the Animal Welfare Board. And those need to be filled. I have been on it, but then some other standing meetings after becoming mayor, I stepped off. Roger had stepped off earlier, I think, though, and you were like a county appointed person. So we really haven't had town representation. So I'd like to ask if there are any volunteers on the board that would like to, be a member of the Animal Welfare Board. They meet once a month, and I think it's Wednesdays at 4:30.
It's the second Tuesday of the month
Tuesday
at 4:30,
at
and
Owen Town Hall.
the meeting can last 2 hours or an hour and a half.
Second Tuesday at 4:30 at Owen Town Hall, once a month. Is there a board member who would like to volunteer?
I will volunteer.
Okay, Miss Lynn.
May I
Mhm.
have a comment? Sometimes both of you employees, members on the Animal Welfare Board, have been from the board. Sometimes it's just been one member, and the mayor of the board is willing to accept the Animal Welfare Board's recommendation of several people. If you would like us to submit that, we can.
If you'd like, I've kind of got some names rolling in my head as well, so let me go with those, and then we'll come back to that. If mine is empty, we'll reach out, is that okay?
All right.
Got a deal?
I'll get those together in the
Okay.
next several weeks.
Okay, so that day for sure, second Tuesday, so y'all won't meet again until April.
Right.
The next meeting will be, okay, be sure to get an email address.
I'll get your email and your phone.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I guess we need to approve that one.
Do we have a motion?
We don't have much.
Well, I'll make a motion, but then you're so you're playing before. Any discussion? What's that?
Second.
To approve.
Third.
Let's vote.
Debbie, call roll.
Alderman Lemon,
Yes.
Alderman McIntyre,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes,
Mayor Horn.
Yes. Okay, reports of officers. Also, Ted, you're up first.
First
All right, well, good to see you all again. It has been a minute. I'm sorry. It feels like every meeting town had, I was out of town in Nashville for one thing or the other, but I'm glad to be here and check up with you all again. So, for those who don't know, I'm Austin Finch, Economic Development Director for the county. I want to start with, what we're doing for Unicoi specifically. So, IMC, as you all may know, we discussed previously, they're moving up shop going to Washington County, unfortunately, due to space constraints where they're at. So good news is that leaves us a property to market to other industries and hopefully bring in somebody new to bring in additional jobs. And we've made a lot of progress there. We, through the soft landings program at ETSU, were introduced to a German company who wants to bring in a metal hardening process using boron. And essentially it extends the life of steel products. Good job, good benefits, about 30 of them to start, 30 jobs, and it could be a great potential partner for the community. We had them here several times over the course of the last 8 months or so, and it's coming decision time, and we have them here again Friday. We met the mayor, Debbie, we got kind of more acquainted. We very well might land this, or because it is about twice the space they need in that building, we might come within a hair of getting it. They want to be in Unicoi County though. They want to be here specifically, and they're going to try to make this facility work even with too much space. But even if that's not the case, we have another RFI already lined up for a different company that we can slate to move right in there as well. So we're staying in touch with those different channels, recruiting industry, and the Carries have been great partners in making sure that something good comes there, not just storage for somebody else. So make sure jobs get there. So they're going to give me additional time, for whatever reason this doesn't work out, to find the right partner for Unicoi specifically.
And he wants to do this thing.
Yeah, he wants to live in Unicoi County. Yeah, from Germany. He's just that impressed with people he's met and the environment. Yeah, and just being by the river or being on the trail here, or wherever it's at, we present well. People like it here, I don't know if we always appreciate it enough ourselves, but it's a great place to be. So, making progress there. Any questions about that effort before I move on to the next points?
Yes, how many employees they expect to hire?
They would hire 30.
Okay.
In theory. And it would start out with just like a handful to get things off the ground and get things set up. And as operations and customers come online, and go to 30 within the first few years. And then after that, it really depends on how much business can scale.
What kind of wage range are they planning on paying?
I'm sorry?
Pay, what kind of pay are they?
Oh, it would be above average wages. I don't know if we have the exact figure down. I think it depends on, which jobs we're talking about. So when the initial setup comes, that's more engineer focused and, more the technical aspects. I think that was above 30 per hour. And then your typical, I forget the specific number there, but they would pay above the county average, that much.
What is the county average?
County average is $17, I believe.
17?
Yeah. So it would be north of that a pretty good amount. And the thing about these European companies and why they're such good partners is they're wage and benefit heavy, typically. So it could be a good avenue of recruitment for sure, just for quality of job and things like that. Off time is also higher than usual. I need to double check their wages for sure. But in any case, it would be a good company, and we do believe they'd be a good long-term partner too. So they'd sign a 10-year lease, and they would really want to locate here specifically. Thing of it is that as the market changed, what they were anticipating to pay when they first started looking in this region versus their first conversation with the Carries versus their second conversation with the Carries, the expected lease rate doubled. Which, as somebody who's looking for a house, I'll tell you that rates double a lot. And it is not fantastic, paying twice the rate on twice the principal cost of a house. So, and the same things happen in the commercial space as well. And it's difficult for everybody, I think, including them. So we'll see what they can be worked out. They may choose to start somewhere smaller, somewhere they can subdivide, in Washington County and then grow into the bigger space, as opposed to buying the bigger space now and waiting a few years to grow. So, yeah, I was a lot more optimistic 2 weeks ago than I was, after these last few conversations, but, I think the key point to get across is we're, actively recruiting industry for the county employee. I think the bigger focus is on the retail recruitment side, as based off of who our partners are, what people who have the available land are willing to sell for, and again, like Kathy, everyone was saying earlier, the sales tax is the real money. These jobs coming in would be great, and obviously that property tax is good on that building for the county, but not for the county employee. So we really want them focused on spending money here.
Do you feel that the county can come up with 30 good employees? Right now, a lot of employees come to Johnson City.
That's one of my biggest conundrums. I'm gonna try to make sure that I can do the best job for the county and keep my partners on board with me in this job, is making sure that I'm serving the county. But when I go into these different companies and they tell me that they're mostly bringing in people from Greene County or Washington County or North Carolina, I'm like, well, then who am I serving? So if I go out and spend all my efforts to get, something on that Second Street site, and, that's what always comes up early, right? What are you doing with that site? What are you doing? Why you not sold that site? Because you want good jobs, but all the efforts go there, and then all the money goes right back out to Washington County. What did we accomplish? So, but can't say that too loudly, or people will think that I'm not focused on getting them good jobs, which is not the case either. I think it's about making sure that our existing industries are strong and have good business so they can continue to pay better wages as well.
And to his point, and I hear that, I know that, I know that is an issue. It is an issue.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that as well. This is not a Band-Aid, well, it may be a Band-Aid that's not gonna fix everything, but, before Allison departed out of her position, she was successful at setting up some apprenticeship, internship type programs to try to get some feet wet, some feet in the door, some skills, start building some skills. I think we can do better with that, and I also think we can do better. The high school is about to get HVAC. Is electric or HVAC? HVAC. They're about to get an HVAC program down there. And if you could come out of the high school with a certification, you're going to be getting paid the next day. So HVAC, I think that's a great thing. That's going in down there. And then again, our partnership with TCAP. Whatever the skill set is, we've got to have a place for students to go to get the skill set. Whether they're willing to train through apprenticeships or, whether they can do it at the high school or TCAP, whatever. We got to work on our I agree.
Yeah, and we had a lot of good things going when Allison, through that new opportunity. It's great that she did. Proud of her. And I'll land on me all at once. Feels like, but I'm still taking and running with it. So where we've landed in those conversations is the high school has something called Blue Block. Y'all heard of that? Yeah, they're just kind of student schedule around. I don't necessarily get it, but apparently that opens up some time where we can add in these certificate programs. So we can level and layer in programs that go right to NFS, go right to Energy Solutions, and possibly others that are employing in the county. So you can leave with your technical certificate. The Ayers Foundation's happy because we met that post-secondary certificate, and they come right out of high school right in the workforce too, and here, hopefully.
There's so much resource. I think it's coordinating. I think the hardest part is getting everybody going in the same direction.
You got to have an owner, is the thing.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, where I'm sitting, to own every last aspect of what would normally be divided against, a whole team, people who have offices, departments for workforce, and departments for retail, departments for industrial, but you've got to prioritize my time. So really, I'm looking for that partner in the high school who can just take it and be like, I am the workforce person, and I'm going to get these students employed in Unicoi County. And we have plenty of great partners up there. It's just about making sure that they want to follow through with those type of programs specifically.
Right.
So, but we have the buy-in there for sure. And I think their willingness to participate also helps me in recruitment of other industries where it's like, if your concern is workforce, then we have a time and programs dedicated to training your people for you if you want to move in.
And the department, Unicoi County Schools is an active member on the economic development board now,
Yep.
which is a key piece.
Yeah, and I feel like our board is more functioning now than what I've heard in a while.
It's more than even when I first started.
Yeah, so we're a little well-oiled machine, I think. We're all moving in step, and I think we're going in the right direction. I do want to clarify, sometimes people in media settings might want to speak on behalf of the board and what our objectives may or may not be. But we are industrial, retail-focused recruitment, and there are other aspects of community development, like a brewery, that would be good to have for young people to have something to engage with, older people too, whoever wants to, but making it a place people want to come, but that has never been outlined in any objectives. I know, people are passionate about being part of the board, but we got to be careful as to how we communicate our objectives, because it is a broad organization.
Roger, that came from me, because you brought that up at the last board meeting, and I did not like it. I said,
Well, I read that too, and I was like, well, that's just an untrue, it's just an untrue comment,
I mean, I'm
yeah.
on the other
And
side.
I don't want to blame Michael in this case,
I just would be pleased if our money's going towards recruitment for silver turtle. I'm sorry.
I don't think I would never make that an objective because I don't got the community buy-in for that, and it's not a high level objective. Yeah, and it's something, again, like I wouldn't mind it. I'm not trying to make myself sound like a heathen or something like that, but I would be all right with it. But that's something that comes along as it comes, right? As a private industry, right? We did choose to make a restaurant a priority because you got to have a good place to sit down and eat if you're going to conduct business here, have a sense of place here. But you do not need a brewery to have a sense of community.
I also need a name brand hotel.
Yes, or the off-brand hotel would be actually better for us. Name brand hotels shoot us down, but if we get an off-brand, like a boutique hotel, that's what we can get. Because people actually like those more now too. We got a conversation.
So if you'll check with some of the county commissioners, they had a speaker come in years ago that talked about we need jobs, housing, and schools, name brand hotel.
Yep.
And restaurant.
So, Tony Parsley? Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody knows him. Yeah, I just gotta make sure. He was handling that objective for us, and that was one of the top objectives too. He called all sorts of different hotels in his own time, and he obviously knows business and conduct himself. And they were like, we already ran the numbers on Unicoi County, and there isn't enough demand to build the whole new hotel. But if we took like the old Irwin Hotel, the old Plastic headquarters, old Oriole Owners headquarters building, and turn that into like a boutique hotel that appeals to a whole different market, and that could change the discussion too. So you got to know what's obtainable as well. So I got to be realistic with the goals.
You gotta think outside the box a lot.
Yeah, it's good. I think we're moving in the right direction. Also working on retail recruitment slowly. We got a good argument there. Considering going to a conference in Vegas where we can go and engage with some of these people that can locate here. And then housing developments, working on, we just got released the option for the Dry Creek property. The Economic Development Board had an option, place an industry on the Dry Creek property. David Schultz property right there at Dry Creek and
Dry Creek and Sainsbury's and along the railroad, which is no man's land. It's not county employed, it's not urban.
right.
It's county.
But we're gonna get 90 units in there, 90 new houses.
And they're hoping it was up
Exactly. So the sales tax runoff for the county of Unicoi from this development, I have a whole long range of calculations as to what it comes out to be and why, but it'll be at least $33,000 a year from those residents spending money in Unicoi County, based off the math of anticipated income, how much money you spend on essentials, like what you buy at Walmart and gas, things like that. So at least 33,000, and there'd be an additional 160,000 in property taxes going to the county. That's $40,000 of that would be for the school alone, do the math there too. So, then we're also looking at development in Unicoi specifically, but that's a little further down the road. Gotta be careful about what details I say there, but, more housing there too, and more rooftops equals more chances to bring in businesses and, move things forward there. So things are moving in the right direction. Also, Kathy has done a great job at like pushing the message, and Laura too. Can't forget, pushing the message of the Mountain Harvest Kitchen and like what it was, what it's meant to be. I think even early on, it's my fault, I'm not getting too familiar, but I didn't 100% understand the objective of it. So I didn't really know how to bring it into conversation with different partners out in the region. But now that I do, and now that I understand that, it can help me a little bit. I'm not promising I can do everything overnight, but at least she has a conversation moving, and we're dedicating some of our marketing resources to it, helping Laura out to getting the word out there about what this is. I think it could be more successful if it was more advertised. And so kind of, I think just staying on message there has been really helpful.
And also, is there a meeting that goes by that I don't say, what about the county?
I know.
Or what about the county?
No.
I mean,
Every meeting, yeah.
I'm annoying. Excuse me, I didn't see anything about the county influence on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, I'm pushing the town, trust me.
You are 100% pushing the town, and it's not, there's never any intent to leave out town of Unicoi. It's just a lot of,
A lot of the good parts are all moving down there, because they're already started there.
it just depends on who's
Yeah.
buzzing in your ear too.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, whoever's asking, me or whoever else, like what they want, and it's like, well, I want this by the river, or I want this downtown Irwin, or this or that. And those just kind of circulate the conversation because they're the ones having the conversation. So it's good to have advocates like Kathy and Laura pushing to get things done. I think Laura's gonna be able to build out a true program that kind of, set the town apart in the marketing efforts. That's one thing I'm confused about too, is I don't know 100% what the objectives of the town of Unicoi, as well as I've been explained to them, by the county and by Irwin specifically. So that's something I gotta learn more from you all, and engage more like this.
Well, and I think we've got to formulate that. We may not have formulated that very well.
Yeah,
So
so,
that's something we need to do as well.
yeah, so we don't wanna do a meeting where we sit down and like, what are the real objectives here? I see supporting retail, industry, and housing, that's what I'm supposed to do for Unicoi. If there's something else, then just talk about it and try to figure that out. So, that I'm working for you and you're getting your money's worth for contributions to our budget. That's allowing us to get an intern who can help me with some administrative stuff. Because there's a lot of paperwork. A lot of people want you to write letters of support or be engaged in something here, there, everywhere. So, anyway, I've taken a lot of your time.
Some pretty good conversation, though. I think that needs to happen.
Yeah, I had to miss every meeting, it seemed like. So I'm glad to be back at it. And any other questions?
One thing I would consider on the industry
Mhm.
is that IMC now, I've had people complain, they've got some outdoor equipment,
Mhm.
conveyors and fans and stuff like that. And I've had people live down there behind that place complain about the noise.
Hmm.
And I've never said anything about it, but as you look to get people in here, that might be something that you consider too,
Yeah.
because, like cars and trains, they go away, you know what I'm saying? But,
Mhm.
it's a constant all day long thing.
Yep. You're talking about the IMC building specifically?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So they're in, for them at least, spill out into the parking lot. That's the whole operation. Yeah. They outgrew. So I agree. I mean, my thing is, first and foremost, quality of life.
Yeah, and I've never said anything about that, but I'm doing something to look for
Yeah.
in the future, you know what I mean? Because, they're there and they're going to move, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
I'm just passing that on,
It's a narrow fit, right? To find the right partner.
Right.
We're talking about the wages. You gotta consider wages. Like, are the jobs,
Benefits.
big benefits and all those things. And time off's a big thing for younger workers too. So making sure all those things line up. And if we could line up I don't take it. If we could, just line up everything perfectly, but it also means it takes time to get the right partner too. So, we could, like, Second Street could be sold, that site, this is, even when it's Irwin, could be sold, but it wouldn't do anything for anybody to sell to somebody who doesn't make proper use of that land. It's a one site, you gotta make the right shot. I feel the same way about the other properties you might be able to advertise, Unicoi or other parts of the county. We don't have much flat land. Every shot we take is gonna last for generations, so you gotta do it right. So that's the goal. But yeah, thank you for that feedback. We'll try to find.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors, and
Yeah.
if you don't hear, sometimes you have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it just depends. Some operations will be allowed.
Who else said that?
Deborah and Mark Carey own it, and they plan to maintain ownership, best I can tell, and rather do a direct lease situation. Yeah, which is really good. And I don't know if you know them around, they're fantastic people and partners, and they really want to go out of their way to make the right deal for the town. We've done the math with different developers, and it would cost $4 million to rebuild that building right now, which, for perspective, that's 4 times or more what they paid to build it. And what they're willing to lease at would be the equivalent of half that cost. What would it take to actually replace the building? So they're making sacrifices of their own time, their own money, to make sure the town has something good in their place. So I really appreciate that. So, all right.
All right,
Well,
thank you, Austin.
Thanks, appreciate y'all taking the time to go through that marathon.
All right, Buffalo Valley Historic.
I'm Jean. We had our regular meeting, we had a great turnout. We did a sewing class where we made approximately 40 of the cozies, where it goes in your microwave, put your bowl on so it's not hot when you take it out. This coming Wednesday, not this week, but next Wednesday, we have a quilting class. It's being taught by the lady who bought the greenhouse on the hill here. She's from New York, and she is a professional quilter. And she's going to be teaching quilting classes. It started with the group first, and then we're going to reach out to the community because I think a lot of people want to know how to do that. Also on Good Friday will be our Easter. I understand Old Bo Pete's going to be there. And of course, the Easter Bunny will be there. There'll be lots of animals and things, so everybody needs to tell her it's on Good Friday. Tell your neighbors to bring out the kids. We will have a blast. And that was it.
Thank you. 1 to 3, right?
1 to 3.
Okay, all right, planning.
Planning Commission met on March 6, 2023. The board had the yearly election of officers for chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. Under new business was discussion and some changes that were made for zoning ordinance. That's not the key right now, now that we get all of it. The BCA met on March 6, 2023, and the only business was the yearly election of officers for chairman, vice chairman, and secretary.
All right. We just did official business. Yeah, okay, thank you. Brandon has an insert in your packet. We've talked a lot about the kitchen. I don't know if there's a whole lot more for me to be about the kitchen over there. Parks and Rec.
So, we are still going ahead first in Strawberry Festival and Freedom Festival planning. As of the 14th, we have 56 vendors, 30 sponsors for a total of $8,775. And those are coming in every day. So that number has already grown. We did have a meeting at the school for the construction. We met with the school staff and the Board of Education and the developers, all that. And me and Kathy and Nick were present. The construction is only going to affect parking for Strawberry Festival. Half the playground will be blocked off, and Nick did tell me today that they do have all that fencing up now. So
You can kind of go down there and see exactly where it's gonna be blocked off. But just a little bit of parking is gonna be affected for the Strawberry Festival. We do have a special guest for our Strawberry Festival. The author of the children's book, I Love Strawberries, Shannon Anderson, is going to be attending. And she'll be doing something with the public library, with Susie. And she is the book was awarded the Book of the Year from the American Farm Bureau. They always choose a children's agriculture book to highlight and help market during the year. So I think with it being the 20th annual festival and that book, I think it just lined up perfectly. So another thing that we worked on for the festival is adding some vendor spaces. Last year we had to turn some people away, we just didn't have enough room. So this year I spoke with Tony and Danny, and we worked away to add about 20 more spaces. So we might not fill them all, but we'll have them, as long as that attendance is still up. For Freedom Fest, like I said, the majority of the playground will be cut off, for the construction. It will be a 6-foot fence. So we will have some extra security presence in that area, but Crescent Construction is willing to cooperate with us, for that event specifically. We will be moving the fireworks to be shot off-site, so it will not be on the school grounds, like it has been in the past. We do have some potential fields that we'll be using, but that has not been set in stone yet. So most of the seating will be in the field beside the playground instead of on the playground, since we're losing a lot of that. And depending on where we shoot off the fireworks is how we'll kind of set that up. That's still kind of in process. And then we will be meeting, Nick and I will be meeting with just the different parties that will be involved, like EMS, the county sheriff's office, rescue, fire department, all that. So we'll be needing to kind of get them involved in the traffic and flow and safety and all that. Moving on, our website, that has kind of been put on the back burner with all the stuff that has come up with Freedom Fest and Strawberry Festival, but I am keeping it up to date with our meetings, minutes, agendas, all that. Also with the social media, like I did a post about the Easter event that the Historic Association. So that's keeping up to date. We did do some updates on the building, just with kind of renters. We changed the locks just to kind of have a better flow of security for renting out our spaces. And we will be looking into kind of adjusting those rental agreements, making some updates so that will be coming in the future. The caboose we've changed the lock on it. It did have the lock of the guy that did the, yes, his lock was still on there. So we took that off and we put our own lock on it. And it's open during during our business hours. And there were antique lanterns in there, and we were concerned about the safety of those, if they would be stolen during the day, with it being unlocked. And we did we worked out some ways to keep those secure. So those are locked as well. And we did do a social media post about that. And that's all I have.
You did update the kitchen usage fees, correct?
Yes, the kitchen usage fees are updated on the website.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chief,
Fourth police court this month, we had 13 incidents, 4 arrests, and missed 32 citations. 7 code enforcement, and 4 accidents. We also attended the GHSO, Governor's Highway Safety Office, Page Grade High Visibility Grant, which we secured the grant, and money will be available in October. We've also got word back from the Governor Lee grant. We're waiting on the actual mail. Other than that, we have started a pretty active, I guess you could say, campaign regarding the city ordinance 06-125, the signs being on poles and the side of the roads, and everyone, we've got a big issue of it. Several people's been calling saying, hey, there's a yard mowing sign, pressure washing sign, blocking the road, we can't see it get out. So in our ordinance, it does state also with Todd, the state law, as far as campaign and advertising signs. We have myself and Jay, I think Jay wheeled this morning, yard around 30, and I think I've put about 15 this season. This is the second time we've done it in the last 2 weeks. Once we get them all cleaned up, from that point, we will be sending these people letters stating, as far as the signs being left over, light poles, the side of the road, wherever, we will send them a letter, give them one warning, and then we will be issuing a citation. It's junking our town up. It's every street you get off of, you've got 5 or 6 signs on the pole. It's nasty. So therefore, we have picked that up. We've had several complaints. We're trying to not throw the signs away because a lot of people, they do try to, it's $12.50 for a sign. So therefore, we are keeping the signs. If they come in, they can collect them. And at that time, we're basically putting them on notice. You all put another sign up, you will be ticket. So if you, as the board, if you all do get complaints and stuff, let us know, because we're likely the signs are at the PD. I'm sure it's sweet, so I'm good.
All right, well, thank you. That's been a deal, I know it has. All right, thank you, Nick. Municipal court report. And this is for the month of February, and this is, cash that was collected. Total payments of $2,093.50. Litigation tax was $162.68. Department of Safety fines, $128.25. Municipal training, education fees was $11.40. $450 for CSI fees. So the net disbursement of revenue was $1,341.17. And on the tickets, we have 2 violation of proof of insurance, 1 stop sign that was ran, 12 speeding, 3 fire lane parking tickets, and 1 seatbelt. So total 19 tickets. All right, thank you. Any comment sessions? We're good? All right, then we will move on to the quarters report. Okay, so we've gotten the personnel policy updated and from UTM task, got that actually today. Kathy and I had a phone conversation with Betsy Cunningham at UTM task on the alcohol drug policy, so she should be wrapping that up within the next few days. So we'll you have a copy that you've gotten tonight on the personnel handbook, and then we'll do the drug and alcohol policy as well, and then you all can review it. And we'll probably do a really quick work session. Maybe we can combine it with the kitchen and do a work session of those 2 items. And then we'll get it on the agenda, hopefully. I don't know if it'll make it to April, but maybe by May. We have not heard anything from the Black Diamond Market, Arnie Riggs, about what he's gonna move forward and do here on this piece of property.
as you recall, we talked about, he wants to have tractor trailers there, he's gonna gravel it, and, he would be required to come with planning, board, because it is a planned business district, and get approval, the site plan, go through that whole process. The T-Dot North Indian Creek Bridge replacement, I think it's gonna move pretty quick, because Kathy and I met, last week with, Kelly Wolf, and she is an ROW agent for that project. She brought a lot of documents over for us to take a look at, and, as again, we will not be having access to the front of that building around the right of the town hall. And, so they offered us, like a little bit of a stipend, I guess, for the, handicap ramp and some striping of the parking lot and that sort of thing. It's $2,100, I believe, exactly. And, we talked about the shrubbery there and the, crepe myrtles that are there alongside there. And we learned that they are basically in there right away. So we may try to move some of those plants to save them, because they are pretty expensive. And, maybe somewhere else so that we don't just, lose them. We definitely will lose the ones there in the corner, because that's where that drain is that they're gonna have to work on, so they're gonna, I know, mess those up. Let's see, on road projects, I don't know, Alderman McIntyre, would you like to talk about your road trip with Terry Haynes and?
Yes, we covered a lot of ground, and we looked at, the potholes and the sinkholes, pavement that was deteriorating. And we talked about Mally's Bridge, and he said he could work on both sides of that bridge within 100 feet without a permit. So I think he's willing to do that. The property owner said he'd like to come in, on the property on the lower side. I hadn't talked to the people on the upper side. But me and Terry, we had a good morning of it. So maybe we'll get the ball rolling. And I tried to get some kind of rough ideas about the cost, of course, it changes every day, materials, the supplies, the price of them. So I think we'll do okay. And there were, quite a few things, and I told him, I said, I think the high traffic areas, of course, now Massachusetts, about that, I don't know. We need to patch a few holes, let it slide for now, So, but yeah, it's a learning process. Me and him got along pretty good, so
That's good.
maybe we'll iron it out and move on.
Iron out the potholes.
Tiffany's working on a spreadsheet, where it will break down potholes, infrastructure, paving, that sort of thing, so that we can have that to look at.
Yeah, and we've got a few tiles that need to be replaced. You know what my argument is on that, so me and Kathy, we're gonna get out here and slug it out one day. Let's take what we can do about that.
I said, well, you're not trying to theory, you just make a list of tiles. You make a list.
Okay, and my argument still on that is, we can go, one at a time. It's not, like a $25,000, $50,000 thing, but, so anyhow,
There's a name.
yeah, if we keep bringing it up, at least we won't forget it.
As far as highway markings where the guardrails come from, we're trying to get into their schedule, begging and pleading them to come up and do the guardrails. The one on Utica Drive, and then we have several that need to be done on Markham as well.
Debbie, can we get anyone else to do that?
I think everybody's in the same boat that they're in as far as they cannot get people to work. And so the last time I talked to her, she's our office manager, and she's going to, trying to work us in. So, Do you want to give us an update on the EMS annex building?
I can tell you that as of this morning, all the sheet rocks installed, has been filled, has been sanded. We'll be painting in the morning. So the end is looking good, and we may still hit your date, April the what?
April 10th.
We may get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I told them to hit the paint the shower room first, so that the guys can jump on the
So
shower.
really, the only thing left is just the painting, the
That's,
sheet rock and
we've
painting.
got to paint. I've got to get all the cabinets installed, the shower installed. And that's basically it.
And are the guys doing the cabinets installation?
I don't know, we'll see how time frame goes. Now, the garage doors the openers are up, they're not electricity's to them. They promised this week to come and finish that installation. So hopefully the weekend we'll have the garage doors opening correctly. So we'll see how the campus go. And how much time they can get to work on it. We're getting there finally.
Let's see, do you want to update us on the CDBG, the surveys and all that? They gave us an extension.
I did deliver, after talking to Lance, after being really discouraged at our last meeting. Lance and I arranged to meet with King. Lance really encouraged me with some techniques to get out and make contact with people. And Laura helped me, and I was able to deliver about 150 surveys, for Tennessee Development District this afternoon. I was hoping to get them in there Friday, but they are gonna be out of town till Friday. And I think even with that, we're still gonna be 7,500, I'm still gonna be 7,500. So we're gonna have to go through it again and try to get some of those, but we knocked a lot out. And at least gave a big chunk. So we'll see how those all score, because I'll have to score them all out to see what percentage of what. So I was hoping for some feedback before we go, think we're gonna get back on Friday. I might be able to get a lot of that Friday. Anyway, we're on that.
Our digital radios that we've had on order for, I think, at least a year have come in, correct? Okay, that's part of our ARPA money, $18,689. And the date that you mentioned, the April 10th, that's when we're going to upload ARPA expenditures that we incurred from May of 2022 till now. And we'll be entering that through the portal and be done with it hopefully until the next bunch of money goes out. Be working with the department heads this week and scheduling with Mountain Harvest Kitchen, Brandon and Laura and Nick. We've got the 2 budget work sessions, Wednesday, April the 5th and Wednesday, April the 12th, 9 to 4. And we will provide lunch. Not sure what it's gonna be yet, but we're thinking about it.
While you're on scheduling, we still have to have one on floodplain training.
Who's
Yes.
requiring that? Who's requiring floodplain training?
Well, that maybe answer that.
She's with the state of Tennessee, she's with the FEMA, and
Yes.
we met with her, Walter and I think Dwight, yeah, the 3 of us met with her, and she's got a packet about like this, and flash drives and all kinds of files to look at. And
Okay. What day is that? I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Is that it?
And for the court, yeah.
For report, okay, all right, financials.
Okay, the general fund balance sheet, I'm gonna do some calculating here on what I call current cash, we're at $1,692,884. We also have the ARPA funds, we're at 766,000, but remember, that's at the end of February. I think it's gonna be closer to 720 something after we pay for what, the renovations have been at the EMS and for the digital radio equipment, we need to pay for that as well. Our restricted, Snyder funds is 129,894. And then, certificate of deposit, we've got $115,071, and that was at a 4% interest rate. And that's for the general fund. If you count all that together, it's about 2.7 million, counting the ARPA money. For the month of February, the revenues, we were at 181,129. I will, make a note that, the local option sales tax decreased 16% for the month of February, for this year compared to 2022. Also, the, state shared sales tax increased 4.5% from what it is now, and what it was a year ago. So they kind of each went in different directions.
Can I just real quick, since you just talked about those shared, only Alderman, I put this at your table, at your spots. This is the legislation that, Briggs and, I can't say the other guy's name, are trying to get through. It got farther this year than it got last year, and I think there's a slim chance they'll actually get it funded this year. And if they do get this, well, funded, meaning it's gonna impact budget, obviously. They have a push, they've got a really big push now to try to get people to send out something for that, this shared. For us, it could be $70,000 difference. That's a big difference in money, okay? There are some sample letters right here. Anybody can grab one of these. It helps everybody. You're not gonna pay any more taxes, but your municipalities will get a bigger share of the taxes you pay. The taxes rate will stay the same, just that we get a bigger share, okay, from the state than we've been getting. There are some letters, they recommend you do all the lieutenant governor, speaker of the house, all their addresses, your people, you know what I mean, just really push it and get that done. So that's what that is. I'd like to hear your take.
And that is because they put the money in escrow more than what.
They've been
That
holding money,
that
but
wrong, that it should have come to us.
a long time ago, yeah. So anyway, they're pushing really hard. TML, Tennessee Municipal League, is pushing really hard to get this done. So take it seriously, and see if we can increase our funds. Okay, sorry, because we're on shared taxes, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so the month of February, we took in revenue of 181,129. Year to date, 1,223,951. As far as the expenditures for February, our big hit was the Endo Pharmaceutical payment that we did to the rehab, 102,443. So that showed us as a negative net income loss of $10,034 for revenue or income. And as far as year-to-date expenses, we were at $1,074,702, so we have net income of $149,249. We'll skip over and go to your Mountain Harvest Kitchen revenue for February. We did have 2 grants that we had requested reimbursement for in the previous fiscal year, so we had set up receivables on that. And we did end up getting that money. It was $4,245, and that was that Tennessee Economic Development Grant. And our expenses for the month of February were $3,465. So we had a loss of $3,216. I'm sorry, a gain of $3,216. And then year to date, our grant revenue was at $4,245. And our Mountain Harvest revenue, that's client revenue, is 26,522. The total revenue year-to-date is 30,767. Expenditures were at 41,673, so we have a $10,916,000 loss through February, but I think it's very good, actually. To go on to the drug fund, the balance sheet, the one thing I wanted to point out on that, since there is more money in there, and this is from a drug seizure, cash, which was $11,100. Nick can probably talk maybe a little bit about it, as to that money. It's pending, it's seized and pending, not necessarily ours at this point.
We should be hearing something back from the state, what, 90 days to audit?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
We should be hearing something, I say probably next month. We did cease under the narcotics related, we were ceased on the judicial side of it. There's been a possibility of us losing it, or the feds actually picked up the case. So we didn't have the drugs, along with money and stuff, is that we see. So it's pending right now, but, just from Bob Union and working these cases before, with
Okay, there was really nothing else in the drug fund as far as activity goes, for the month. The local option sales tax for the month of February was 98,536. And like I said, the previous year it was 126,354. Total year-to-date for this year is at 617,970. And then if you turn on over to the state shared for the month of February, we had 44,151. And the previous year we had 42,252.
All right, any questions about financial?
I move we approve the financials as presented.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any questions? No. Say that. Any questions on our financial? All right, so,
Alderman Linden,
Yeah.
Alderman McIntosh,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Councilman Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Warren.
yes. Okay, I think we're it, except for announcements now. Ms. Kessler announced our 2 budget planning days. Next week, got those on the calendars, the 5th and the 12th, right? I'm in seeing Wednesday. All right, I know about Easter. The Republican, the Unicoi County Republican Party wants to bring us a pre-meeting snack treat, drinks, juice, soda, whatever, before our next BMA meeting next month. So if you want to just be a few minutes, and you look to enjoy a snack, buy something, they want to bring that to say thank you for service. Okay, before the meeting next month, maybe, so, yeah, about 30. And I'll be what the date of that is. April 16th or something. April 17th. Okay, all right, I guess that's it for one.
We'll bring one thing up, from 7 AM to 8 AM, Parsons Street will be closed out. It will be closed. Northbound, no, correction. Westbound will be closed, just due to the school. It's very hectic when you go down by there and you see all of it. They are dropping off on the upper side of the gymnasium now. The gates will be left open to the field, because that's the way that we've been bringing the construction in there. So we'll have dump trucks, concrete trucks, all that will be coming in on the lower side. But it will be closed because now everything's coming down on beautiful trees and coming down Massachusetts and the morning was up straight out of Massachusetts, cutting across the playground, coming back to school to try to keep kids from getting run over. This morning was our first day, and parents just let the kids jump out and all kind of traffic, excited, close it down. Just to let y'all know, it is closed from 7 a.m.
Okay. Thank you for showing us the school. All right, any other announcements, comments? Well, thank you, everybody. I think we had a lot of good discussion, and I think we've got a couple things to look forward to keep talking about. I appreciate everybody's input, and I would say the second,
Second,
all in favor?
yes.
Oh.